Hello, everybody. Meteorologist Bergren here. How are you doing? It is a Thursday evening. Hope you've had a great day. Forgive the mess behind me. We are undergoing some construction and seeing some new things get put in here. Hope you've had a great. Okay, the microphone is good. Hello, Fox Local, YouTube, and Facebook audience. Hello. Wow, my hair is today. Wow, my hair is all frizzy and staticky today. Wow, wow, wow. All right, hello. How is everybody? How are you doing? I hope things are going good for you. It's 7:31 on the radio dial here. Meteorologist Bergren here. YouTube, Facebook, and Fox Local. If you have a comment about the weather, a question, love this to be a laid-back forum and let you all drive the discussion. If there's something you want to know on the weather, please send me a message on Facebook, on the live, or on YouTube, or through my email. So hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? So, first, the heat index is going up big time over the next few days. That's probably the first main story. And it's going to be hot this weekend. I mean, there's no two ways about it. It's going to be really hot, especially Sunday. This is the average heat index across Central Florida. We're talking about 110 Sunday afternoon. Yes, 110, which if that's correct, will have heat advisories for Central Florida. Anything about 115, we start getting excessive heat warnings. It's not quite going to be that humid and hot, but definitely heat advisories for the weekend. It's going to be excellent beach, excellent pool weather. You'll definitely want to be next to some kind of body of water for the upcoming weekend. That, my friends, is for sure. So here's the view tonight from downtown. A couple of passing thunderstorms, but there's not really a lot. The notables tonight, the heat is on for the weekend, and I mean, it's going to just cook this weekend, the temperature. Mostly dry, too, especially on Saturday. You know, we get a handful of these in summer, as I have said several times now on the air the last couple of weeks. And I'm not from Florida, so I understand the sentiment. My point, what I'm saying is, I've said this a lot the last several weeks, how there is this notion, and people do joke, especially even Floridians who've lived here a long time, but mainly people who are not from Florida, don't live in Florida, that weather's easy in the summer. It's the same thing every day. There's no change. It rains at 3 o'clock and that's it. Well, in part that is very correct, but there's also a large part of that is not. Case in point, the storms move to the west coast some weeks in the summer. Sometimes they move to the east coast. Sometimes they peak in the middle part of the state, right over Orlando. There's summers we've had hardly any rain for weeks on end in the middle of the rainy season. So there's a lot more week-to-week variability of where and when the rain and storms are in Florida than we give them credit for. And on that point, having a completely dry day across most of the state is uncommon in midsummer. It does not happen often. I think for the most part, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but especially Saturday, I mean, there's no rain. It's just dry and really hot. But those high storm chances are going to return heading into next week. Lauren, is the storm coming to Florida loop around or no? Well, I was going to do that in a hot few minutes, but seeing as though you asked, I'll tell you right now. So that's how I want this to go, is y'all ask questions. So there is the tropical wave in blue. These are the heights at 700 millibars. So in English, the mid-levels of the atmosphere, those isobars. So in black, notice over there, that's the tropical wave. Now notice what this guy's going to do here. Goes up through Louisiana, up into West Tennessee and Kentucky, out to the Carolinas, then back down next week. Yeah. So let me bring this back. So this whole thing here, now, what I think this means for us is just a 2-day spell of a ton of storms and a lot of rain. Mainly Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. But what we're tracking is this blob here. And again, it goes like this. See, this is an area of high pressure. This map is valid tonight. But as this high moves over Florida for the weekend, this disturbance will get forced up and over it, and then it'll come back down the side of it heading into next week. So this, it's not going to be a tropical entity, obviously, over land, but there's a potential that next week, again, there could be a tropical depression or storm potential, depending, again, where it tracked. This week it tracked up here, which is why it didn't end up becoming Dexter, but it's possible this time next week we're sitting here again with a tropical wave somewhere about over here going this way, with the chance of it becoming a tropical storm or more based on where it tracks. But the moisture pool, which you see right here, Again, that pool of moisture right here is going to go like this. And when it comes back down into Florida early next week, we'll have a huge increase of the rain. And you can see that here. There it goes. And there's the high that comes over us for the weekend. That's why the rain chances go down. Is you've got this big high pressure over Florida. It's just hot and dry. And here goes that blob of moisture. So we're up over Starkville and Tupelo Saturday afternoon, and then again it just rides the top of the ridge and then gets sucked back down the other way. Kind of a funky little pattern. I mean, if it were to happen, it'd probably be in summertime. But notice, yeah, it goes up, comes around the ridge, and then here's Monday, especially Tuesday. Look at the big increase in tropical moisture. So that high goes back over here in the Midwest over Arkansas and the Boot Heel of Missouri and West Tennessee. Then we get that tropical wave, which, ta-da, is back over us with tons of storms and showers. Now, it's over land at Tuesday at 6 and won't have a chance to become a tropical system. But once it gets back over in here next Wednesday and Thursday and it tracks this way again, it could become tropical again. So it really is an interesting little loop-de-loop of sorts. Will the rain be bad in Florida, Lauren? Just it'll be widespread, Lauren, Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. You see that? And then it moves back into the Gulf towards the end of next week. So you'll see that reflected here in the 7-day forecast tonight, which I will take full so you can see it here. Here is the latest handmade 7-day. No AI with this quite yet. 95 tomorrow. These are the Orlando numbers, Orlando area numbers. 96 Saturday, 97 Sunday, 95 Monday, 93 Tuesday, 91 Wednesday. But notice the rain chances, really uncommon. This is our handmade forecast put together this afternoon. 20% tomorrow, just 10 on Saturday, just 30 on Sunday. It'll come up a little bit Sunday, but this is some pretty low rain chances for the time of year. I mean, you really don't typically see rain chances this low this time of the year, and then the rain chances abruptly come back up the early part of next week. So that's the answer to the question about will this thing loop-de-loop. The short answer is yes. Here's the temperatures now. We're in the 80s in most places currently. The heat index, it's not bad. I mean, it's about 100 in most places. That's what's typical for Florida in the summertime. So temperatures tonight, we're down into the mid-70s, and highs tomorrow somewhere in the middle 90s. And the good news tonight is that the air delays are at a minimum. I'm not seeing any delays of note at Central Florida airports. Now, let me show you some of the storms that are out there tonight. Let me get this back to home view here. So we do have some storms coming in from the south. So we put a looper on this here. We'll get you cooking. Or on Facebook, YouTube, Fox Local. Let me know what you're thinking about the weather. You see up here some storms in eastern Marion County up towards Gainesville. Lots of storms here between Palatka and Ocala, and these are tracking to the north. We'll keep an eye on that. Again, we talked about this yesterday. Hello, Mom. How are you? Love you. Miss you. These storms are moving to the northwest around that low that's over New Orleans. But some storms over here going towards Cocoa Beach in Melbourne, or at least they'll pass, I think, just west of Cocoa Beach, but we'll see. Nice little bowing, arcing line here of storms tracking like this over here and then like that over here. So we'll keep an eye on this. You see here some decent lightning right over 441, just crossed the turnpike. Some decent lightning here right over the turnpike. In terms of wind in there, yeah, there could be some wind. I don't know. Look at the wind. Let me pixel it. Yeah, 20 to 30. You see over here a couple of gusts, winds. So there's some 30, 40 mile an hour winds in this little pocket there, and in this little pocket here going that way, We'll keep an eye on it, but it doesn't appear to be anything too significant. And hail, maybe the tiniest bit of hail. So heads up, Brevard, folks. Vieira, which would be over there, June Park. Let me see if I can get a tracker on this guy here. I don't think it's moving that way. What are the automated system? I think 25 is probably more realistic. So let me put a track on that. Not like that. Sometimes this gets really finicky. Sorry, I'll just do this like this. Put a track on this for you here. So the leading edge of this is going to be in the Melbourne area. If it holds together, about 8:20. So maybe about 30, 45 minutes or so, 45 minutes. If this downpour held together to Cocoa Beach, closer to 9, but I don't know if it'll hold together all that far away. But up towards the St. Cloud area, the way these things are moving. If the showers hold together, probably about at 8:07 p.m. We'll keep an eye on that. Maybe some showers in Kissimmee about 8:15 to 8:20. But yeah, nationally tonight, there's not a ton of big weather going on. There's some flooding in northern Kentucky and southern Indiana. You can see a whole bunch of flash flood warnings in here. Some severe storm warnings up in northern New Hampshire and Vermont. A couple of flash flood warnings here near Reno and then down into New Mexico. Then a small area up in Montana of severe weather. Then the tropical low that's sitting over Louisiana. But yeah, none of that stuff is really that big. Here's the severe weather threat for tonight. You see kind of oriented where most of the storm warnings are currently. Here's the threats for tomorrow. Just some minor stuff in Iowa, Minnesota, then Virginia, North Carolina. Maybe a little bit better chance of some severe weather Saturday with a system driving down out of the northwest in that area. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be great beach weather this weekend. I can't stress enough how nice the beach is going to be. I'm going to try to get out there myself. So let me take this full and show you the beach conditions for Saturday, Sunday. We're talking about 1 to 3 footers, so nice stuff there. High temp in the low 90s for Saturday and Sunday. This is at Daytona Beach, but it's essentially the same forecast at Cocoa Beach. High tide, just the tide to be a little different. Maybe a little bit more of a chop, a little better surfing conditions for Cocoa Beach. But high tide in the mid-afternoon, low tide at 9:25 a.m., water temp somewhere about 81, and the rip current risk about moderate. Lauren says, I seen rainbow tonight. Lauren, where's the rainbow? Let me know. I'd love to hear where that is. That sounds pretty cool. Here is the Futurecast hour by hour for tomorrow, and notice is hot. It is really hot. The heat index peaks about 105. High temp about 95. Mostly sunny, but check out the temperature here. Let me put this full screen so you see it. Check out what it feels like. It feels like 100 as soon as 11 in the morning. Isn't that crazy? 11 a.m. It feels like 100 degrees. That is some very, very hot stuff. So in terms of rain chances over the next few days, again, they go down big time. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they'll really start to ramp up early next week. We've done a big dent in the rain deficits for the year so far, and in fact, Sanford, Daytona especially, were both more than half a foot below average before this last 7-day spell. Daytona, there were spots in Volusia County that were almost a foot of rain below average. It was really dry. But so that rain deficit has been shrunk down big time. That rain deficit's been cut down, but they're still below average for the year. Just under 20 inches of rain in Daytona Beach. That's 4 inches below average. Melbourne about 17. It's about 5 below average. Sanford about 22 so far. It's 2 and change below average. And then Orlando, nearly 28 inches of rain so far this year, which actually is 2.5 above average. And here's how the month breaks down so far in Orlando. You can see that here, about 5.63 inches of rain at the airport, which is 2 above average. And the wettest day so far was July 3rd, right before the 4th. And then on the 15th, which was this past Tuesday, both those days we had over an inch of rain. But yeah, nearly 6 inches of rain so far this July alone, which is one of the wetter Julys we have seen in a hot minute. So certainly notable there. But it does look like it's going to be a few-day reprieve without a lot of rain. Temperatures, what they're feeling like across the southeast, it's a lot hotter in the Midwest and Tennessee Valley, as it is often the case. Having lived there, it is very interesting for Florida. This is the time of the year where Florida is not the hottest place on the board. In fact, Florida is often a lot cooler than Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, Kentucky, about mid-July to mid-August, having lived in Paducah for 6 years. Nashville, St. Louis, Springfield, Dallas, Little Rock, Memphis, Knoxville. I mean, the heat index next week is going to be like 110 daily with a high of 97 daily. Way hotter than here. Now, that'll influence our weather, that heat dome, because it'll bring in that East Coast sea breeze and flow and a lot of rain. But, you know, it's interesting. People don't realize often that Florida, especially in midsummer, is often not the hottest place in the U.S. It's often early and late in summer based on where those heat domes set up. So interestingly, even though the average high is peaking about now in the next 3 weeks, the highest of the average highs of the year. This time of the year, often there's long stretches where it is certainly far from being the hottest location in the United States, by actually a big margin, a lot of years. And here's the pattern over the next 10 days. Just a giant heat dome is going to set up over Tennessee, Kentucky, and that's the high pressure. And we're on the bottom side in Florida, which means we get that east flow off the Atlantic. And this is really mainly for next week. The only places in the U.S. below average, probably talking about California, out towards Oregon, and maybe parts of Nevada heading into next week. So the highs for Saturday, somewhere about 95, 96 inland. Here's the heat index Saturday, about 104 to 106. Now, let me tweak something here quick and pull up the Sunday heat index, because somehow this changed on me, and I don't know how. I don't know how this changed on me. Hello, everybody. How are you? How are you? How are you? Hope everybody's had a great week so far. Man, my hair is all sorts of frizzy, not looking good today. It's been a struggle getting it going. I can tell you that. Let me get this. There we go. So here is the correct heat index for Sunday. I don't know how that got changed, but here's the correct heat index forecast for Sunday. About 109 in Orlando, 107 in Kissimmee, about 103 in Cocoa Beach, 108 in New Smyrna, 105 Palm Coast, 111 in Leesburg, Bushnell, 110 in Clearmont, 108 in Winter Haven. So this is easily one of the hottest days, if not the hottest day of the year so far for here in Central Florida. So let's talk some tropics now. We haven't talked about that in a second. So here's the entire basin. And things are quiet. Actually, we've got no tropical activity outlooked for the next 7 days. And that invest that is over Louisiana, you see on the spaghetti models, will actually do a loop-de-loop. Let's see if this actually loads. Does a loop-de-loop. Notice some of the models take it back around Florida and into the Gulf, kind of in an unusual fashion as we head into next week. So that's what's going to enhance our rain again for next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now, in terms of hurricanes, the average first hurricane is about mid-August, but the average B-named storm, July 17th, we've had up to the C-named storm. So Dexter's the next name up, which the average D-named storm generally is August 15th. So that's still a full month from now. So the fact that Dexter hasn't formed and it doesn't look like there'll be anything for a hot minute is actually very average. We just have this, as I've said a few times on TV, a recency bias where it's been so many active years. Everybody, especially who's new to Florida, there's so many new residents who've never lived back into the day. They're all young. It's not, you don't normally see hurricanes in June, July, August, or even early September. We've just been biased the last 7, 8, 9 years. It's been so weirdly active early. This is how it normally is you get a storm here or there, but there's nothing big yet. This is how historically it normally goes for right now. So across the entire basin, the big thing is there's just a lot of dust out there, and there's not even a lot of convection. If you look out there, there's not really a lot of storms right now. Now let me pull up some more. Specific modeling for you here. Let's look at the AI European ensemble. So in English, this is the European model, and what this is showing is every member of the European model and its pressure, and we're going to look for any tropical systems. And notice, there's a little bit of a hint into the Caribbean. If you look there, there's one of the 20 ensembles that has a hurricane into the Gulf or into the Caribbean the end of July, but it's literally only one, interestingly enough. Let's look at the regular European ensembles. Today's run. Interestingly, there's one ensemble member that takes that wave into a hurricane again next week. It's interesting. Look right there. So if there's about 50 ensembles here, and they would all show up if they had something, but there's only one that shows something. You see that little low in the Gulf? That's funny. I don't think that's going to happen, but never say never. But there's one member that thinks there's going to be a hurricane out of that wave next week. It didn't do anything this week. I don't know. We'll see. But the rest of the basin, Yeah, this is something too. You look up over here off of New England. If you look up off of New England over there, could be some mischief maybe at the end of July. But yeah, the rest of the basin is just quiet. There's a lot of dust, and I mean a lot of dust. If you look out here, see these plumes of dust that just keep coming off of Africa. And that's going to keep a lid on tropical activity. That's a big part of it. And the other thing is, too, is that the MJO, what we call it, is in the wrong phase. Let me see if I can pull that up here. So the MJO says where the air over the entire basin is rising or sinking. Let me broaden this out more. Let's do North America. No, let's do Northern Hemisphere. This is not looking the way I wanted it to. Hang on. Well, we'll just start with that. Yeah, we'll start with the basin. So here, this is the phase of the MJO. So where the air is, where the map is brown, the air is sinking over the entire basin. And so where the air is, where the colors are brown, it's really hard to get tropical activity. Notice right now the air is sinking across most of the basin. There's really just nothing going on, which is good. I hope it stays that way. But it's really interesting. There's a signal maybe in the middle of end of July here, about the 20th, for a little wave that rises in deep in the tropics, but still close to home, the air is sinking. So at least through the end of July, we're probably fine. Take this out further. Yeah, if there was a real big signal long term, you'd see a big pocket of green on here, which, yeah, this is through August 1st, actually, and there's nothing. I mean, we can go out further in time. Let me take you on the European weeklies. This is even further out. This is August 2nd. See all that brown again? That's sinking air in the atmosphere. It's hard to get tropical convection to even form. Maybe, you see right there, there's been some discussion in the weather weenie land and the meteorological land. Maybe early August for something in the Gulf. I don't buy it. And still, see, here's the mid-August, still sinking air. Here's the end of August. You know, this is through September, and it's still up. And here's the 46-day mean from today through September 1st. The mean of the next 46 days is sinking air, but as we know, through September 1st, a lot of times there's been quiet years, and then we hit September and kaboom. But the long-term outlook is, I guess there could be something close to home, but anything notable or big, I just don't see it. For any time soon, which is good news. We'll hope it stays that way, but that's kind of your tropical outlook here for the next little while. So I appreciate you all watching on Fox Local, YouTube, and Facebook. I'll leave you with the 7-day forecast. Stay cool over the next few days. It is going to get hot on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday before big rain chances return early next week. Appreciate you watching here on Fox 35. I'll see you in the News Edge at 8, then again at 10, then again at 11. Have yourself a great night, and I'll talk to you soon.